Hello, hello, hello. We're here. We've made it.
No Minecraft today,
No, no,
unfortunately.
we finished it early last time if I remember correctly. So we get to do a fun little thing and we get to read about a couple horror stories, and by horror stories I of course mean things that happen at people's D&D tables. That constitutes horror story. Um
Yeah, I would say so.
so I'll tell you what. I've we've got a couple stuff off Reddit. I know, super exciting. Um,
Good
that
old
that I think
Reddit.
I haven't read any of these. I don't think you've read any of these, if that's correct. So we're
Mm-mm,
going to be going
I
into
have not.
this just, you know, right away. So what are you thinking? You ready?
Oh. Yeah, yeah, I think so. I guess so. Um, I
So
guess we'll see what these stories have in store.
this first guy just asked the question, "Am I being a bad DM?" So that's what I want you to be thinking about when you hear this. Again, haven't read this
We
yet, so we'll see how crazy it goes.
and we are the end all be all opinions on D&D. So whatever we consensus we come to is it. The
That's it.
discussion's over.
Yeah, don't worry about all the other people who commented or anything like that. It's us. So
Hmm.
so here's what we got. They say Princess Pancake says that my player has me thinking I might be acting like a bad DM. They're new to the game. I he was they're aware of DM and they wanted to try it. Um, he was a long time listener of High Rollers. Are you familiar with that?
I am not familiar with high
I,
rollers.
I believe that's one of those actual plays. Um, if I'm not wrong, but I think it's like Dimension 20 or Critical Role or whatever. Um, so pretty cool stuff there. And they started to complain about the DM that they're saying they're not the best. They've given them pointers and taken them in stride. But recently, their players gotten a Freedy bottle and somehow opened it to a wish. We started the next session and they wanted time to think on wishes. I was fine with that. Here's the problem. One player is trying so hard with their wish that I'm at a loss. Every wish they have is super overpowered and multifaceted that it doesn't feel fair as a single wish. The agreement was that each player gets a wish and then they share one, but uh, since I have two players. So they've only got two players. Interesting. Um, the player question, they want an airship powered by elementals inspired by his deity with constructs manning the ship that is huge. They've got it all planned out, and we came to talk to him about it. He explained that the ship is as an us wish. He said that he would need to be careful with wording and that it didn't really sound like an us wish, just a ship to his perfect wants. No real input from the other player. He got mad and deleted the entire idea. Next, he wanted a ring that had a +5 wisdom and intelligence, and granted more than a few powerful spells at the cost of charges. Uh, allowed for double the wild changing per day, allowed casting Step Without a Trace whenever, and increased survival and some other checks. You allowed a bunch of spells, blah 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 blah. Um, basically, oh, they're only level 5. Um, he says that a good DM would just work with it since and that we have to be ready to break the game as soon as the bottle is given. And I kind of agree, but they're almost level 6 and I want to keep things fun and challenging. And if he keeps making OP wish ideas, then where's the challenge? So am I being a bad DM? How do I plan around this? And if I am and have to admit that he can have it, I'm not and he's being extra. If I'm not and he's being extra, then please explain why, because frankly, we are both new and neither of us know. What are your thoughts here? Uh-oh. Well, let's take a look at some of the comments then. Um, a lot of people. are telling them to just use the rules, which I guess is true. Um, I would say think about how genies work. They're on the more powerful side for a reason, but they don't have to work specifically within your bounds. Um, I don't know. What are we thinking here?
So I got some bad news. My Wi-Fi decided to do the great fun thing of cutting out
Ah, that
in the middle of all
explains. That
that.
explains.
Uh,
I'll give you the
so
TLDR.
okay.
Basically, this brand new DM was had players found a Freedy bottle, the genie bottle, and they want it, and they're getting wishes. Which first of all, I don't know why you do that because the players are only level 5. They haven't hit level 6 yet. Um, and they're apparently just going crazy with the wishes. Um, they're like a giant airship manned by elementals, or a +5, or a ring that gives +5 to both intelligence and wisdom, and a bunch of other stuff. Um, yeah.
And then
The
I
players are
assume
saying the players saying are just say you need to make it work because it's wish.
this is reminiscent of the deck of many things problem
Hmm.
that you see far too often, where player you introduce the deck of many things, a broken item, a random item as the DM, and then the players, take advantage of it. And as a DM, you never want to say no. They just let it roll, and then it gets out of hand, and then it's too late to say no. So you're stuck with these broken players at a low level, and
Hmm.
you know, I don't think you're a bad DM for wanting to hone it in. And I know it's your. I think they said it was their first time playing,
Yeah, it's their first time playing.
but
Um,
um,
I
and
think
that's a
both
first time mistake.
everyone's, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's a. You're not a bad DM for wanting to take it away, but this is a learning experience
Especially
for
because
you and for your players.
I don't think they even want to take it away. I think that they want to allow some form of wishing, and I think that limitations on this wish, especially because it's not the wish spell, right?
Yeah.
It's a genie. Maybe you can say like, oh well, this genie's power is not so large that it can grant game breaking stuff. Um, I don't know exactly what um the DM or what the a 3D wish looks like because uh, but I could be wrong.
Also, it is a genie, and what are genies known to do?
Is
You know,
mess with it. Yeah.
mess with it. So you could, they could word it however, and you could find a way around it.
Yeah, if they got unlimited prep time for thinking about how they want to make the wish, I think you get unlimited prep time for thinking about how you want to cancel it out.
Yeah. Oh, I 100% agree.
I also I think I'm right. I'm not sure the Freedies actually have the spell wish, so I'm not sure where they got wish from, but who knows? I think now's as good a time as any though to move to another story.
I
Um,
agree.
we had the first person talking about being a bad DM. Why don't we talk now about a person being a bad player, right?
Ooh,
Um,
everyone loves a bad player.
yep, there's so much fun. Here's what they say. Their D&D experience, they joined at the tail end of a level 1 to 4 campaign. Everyone was new but the DM. And the current adventures with members of the initial group. They've done a one shot, which ended up being like 10 sessions, so it's not really a one shot.
What
Um,
happens?
Core. Their character is a 4th level Swords Bard, Hexblade Warlock, Chaotic Neutral, insane stats. Um, so apparently they did a rolling system and they got very lucky.
Yeah,
Um,
I've heard that before.
yep, yep. And apparently this is part of the reason why they think that the ire from the DM and teammate is happening. There's an Oath of Vengeance Paladin, a Rogue Swashbuckler, and them. Um, let's see.
There's a lot of
The issue that they say is that they feel that the other two companions are complete goody two shoes. Um, and this character is a strongly independent woman who can handle her own, but recognizes her allies can help her towards her goal. She's loyal, but not simply using them. But she seems to be a bit more chaotic neutral type. They're supposed to be like a James By spy type of person. Um, like they give two examples here. They say one, they were keeping their dead son. There was an NPC who was keeping their dead son as a vampire in a cage alive, and they say that isn't your son. He's already dead. Or when an NPC asked to do a task slash quest, um, they agreed on conditions, but midway through, it was apparent that it was a much bigger job, so they requested to be paid more and got mad at the NPC for not being forthcoming, and the allies kind of shamed or apologized them for saying that. Um, so they think that the DM and one of the two other party members are getting annoyed by the way they play their character.
here's I don't think anyone's in the wrong here. I think, the person who posted this, Casper,
Casper.
uh I think they're just reading a little too far into what is role play. Because if, this character is a chaotic neutral spy type character, they're not going to be trusting. They're not going to be, forthcoming. They're a spy. They can't be. And this other person is just described as like a goody two shoes.
Hmm.
So I could see them trying to like it kind of being like a. I'm trying to think of a good example of like pop culture characters. Because I feel like that happens a lot in pop culture where you've got this one character that's like
I'm thinking
rude.
you can even talk about I feel like just like the D&D movie, right? Like
Yeah,
where there was that I mean obviously it was the DMPC, but like the paladin who did no wrong, right? Like they're all good, lawful good no matter doing what, and then, you know, morally dubious character. Um I would say really something to think about is they joined late, right? So like this was
yeah.
everyone else's. So and I
Well,
don't.
no, I think they joined.
It looks like
I joined at the tail end of a 1 to 4 campaign, and
and
then
I think they've
current
done a one
adventure. I
to
think this is
five.
their second adventure.
Well, regardless, I think that I mean realistically having some form of session zero would have helped here.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
just like to give a general vibe check on what the you know like the feel of the game is going to be like. Um, like because I kind of like the type of character that they're playing, right? Like, but and I think it would fit well in like some of our games, um, but in other games it wouldn't, and I think that's something you have to talk about. So if they joined late, then that might not have been something that they were ready to face.
yeah.
Um,
It's like the opposite of Felix almost,
yeah,
where it's like the exact opposite. Where instead of it's like this goody two shoes party with one character who's up to no good, it's these morally dubious characters with this goody two shoes that's in the middle of the party.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Um,
and I know I
before
kind of said this with the whole just do a session zero thing, but like also talk to them, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say if you go down to the first comment, it says the Mr. Pokeman responded and said, "You think, but you don't know. How do you figure it out? Actually, talk to your group about it. There's a good chance there's no hard feelings behind it, but you won't know until you decide to find out. And Casper responded and said, "True, it is largely my perspective. I may ask them directly somehow about it." So there hasn't even been a communication with the group about if they're annoyed by the way this person plays their character.
Yeah. I think that's something to learn. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, like I get it. It can be nervous. It can be nerve-wracking to talk to people, but it is something that you have to like. I mean, you have to work at it, right? You have to. These are your friends at the end of the day. These aren't like this isn't your boss who you have to like ask for a promotion from. It's these are your buddies. I don't think they hate you. And if
yeah.
they and if
I
they
hope
do,
not.
then and if they do, then like, what are you doing being friends with them in the first place? Um, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I've got to say there. Any other thoughts, or shall we move on to another one here?
We should move on.
Okay. Well, I've got a one that I think this is a very funny. This is much more simple, straightforward. It is so obvious that my DM is fudging. Uh, I feel like there is no point in even attempting to come up with a strategy or cast big spells. Save spells will never work until the fight is basically over, and it doesn't seem to how much matter is done. Fights always seem to last about the same amount of time. It's gotten to the point where I cast a cantrip at the end, and at the end of my turn, I feel as if it will make the whole ordeal even faster. It's such a shame because I love my character, how they fit into the world and the story that the DM have crafted to them. Seriously, it is almost impossible to find a DM who does that as well as he does. I tried talking to him about the combat, and I got the impression that he thinks he can manage the tension as well as the randomness as the dice. Problem is, he really can't. I am ashamed to admit it, but it has gotten to the point where I know if next session will be a big fight session, I will make an excuse and cancel my attendance the day before. Ooh. Um,
Yeah, that last sentence, that's a big no-no.
at that point, I think you need to go like talk to him. And I know that you've said
Yeah.
that you talked to him before. Um, it may need to be a talk of just like, hey, I I don't like this anymore. I don't want to keep playing. And I think that's okay. Um, but I think it does suck because that hurts everyone else too. Um, is that what you're kind of getting at there? Like,
Yeah. Like canceling the session, like fudging the rolls. Fudging rolls as a DM is not explicitly a bad thing.
I agree. I agree
But
there.
you never want to fudge the rolls for the benefit of yourself. You
Hmm.
want to fudge the rolls for the benefit of the players.
Yeah. I mean, because
Um,
here's the thing. Also, at the end of the day, like it's not your story to control. I know you put a lot of time into working on it. I do. But like I don't know. You can get some pretty cool creative things. Sometimes your monster gets hit a little too fast. Um and I know that the response to this is like, "Oh, but I want to make, combat last a while." And I think that a lot of that is working not on how do I change the roles. I've seen a lot of people do like the whole like, oh, I have a general amount of health, or I just like wait a certain number of turns before he starts getting low, and I hate that. Um,
I
general general health I'm a little more open to. Like if you're like, oh, he's three away, and it was a really really cool thing, and you get want to get the kill, fine.
yeah.
But yeah,
Or if it's like, I will say like I see them a lot where it's like a player will one shot a like the big bad in one turn, and I feel like that is another area where the DM can add an extra zero onto a health block or something. Because you're not only are you taking away from the climax of the story, you're also taking away from the other players. Like
yeah,
if I build, if I'm like a paladin or whatever, and I get a crit smite level 5, and I do 1,000 damage to the boss and kill him in one shot, that kind of ruins it for the players, for everyone else at the table,
yeah.
because they don't get a chance to be heroes. You did everything yourself. So
That's
there's
true.
like areas where you can fudge numbers, but it should never be fudging dice rolls
It
unless
should
it's like
it shouldn't be your solution to every fight, which is what it
Yes,
sounds
I
like is
agree.
what's going on here. If you're like, oops, I messed up this one time and I didn't prep correctly for the crazy characters that we have that can have like maxed out stats and they can turn into a car and there's that like Transformers video that they watched or whatever, like how to play Optimus Prime in D&D. I don't know who does that, but like if you were to
Plug,
find that
plug,
on
video plug, video plug.
if you were to find
Natural1.com, youtube.com/natural1/Optimus Prime or something like that. I don't know.
um but like yeah, like I get that if you weren't ready, like if you didn't know what was coming, that shouldn't be like every time.
Yeah. Like the big thing is like starting a campaign, you can fudge the numbers a little bit because you don't know how the characters are going to work in combat. Or maybe after a big level up, like around level 5, where spellcasters get their third level spells and you get extra attack for fighters and all that stuff. Around there, you can fudge some numbers again to get the feel of combat, but it should be like 2 or 3 times max
It
in a
should
campaign. You should
it
be
should
doing that.
really it should just be a last ditch
Yeah,
like it should be your last choice. It shouldn't be your go-to.
yeah,
Especially
if
when
you,
your player comes and talks to you and says like, "Hey,
yeah,
this is making the game feel bad to me." I think you have
yeah,
to be open to listening to your player. Um,
yeah. You can
but
use. I think you can use fudging to feel out how your characters and your campaign will work. But once you get the feel of it, like once you do it once, you know, after that, eh, don't do it again unless you absolutely have to.
basically, if they're not going to listen to you, I mean, I would actually talk to your the other character
Yeah,
players in this
yeah,
campaign as well, get their feel for it. But if it's something that's frustrating you all, or if it's just something that's frustrating you, I think that you either have to really make it known to him that like, hey, this is not the game that I want to be in. And I think you said just like, hey, I don't want to continue being in this game if this is the way it's gonna continue. And I get it. I one of my favorite characters that I've ever played was in a game where I the DM and I did not get along, and eventually you just left. It was so sad because I really liked the character, but I mean that's what you have to do.
yeah. And I mean, we all have campaigns that just end inexplicably with characters that we really enjoy. So like, it's not a bad thing if you have to leave and kind of, you know, not. You don't even have to get rid of that character forever.
Bring him
Just
back.
use him for the next campaign you join if you like him that much.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Let's see if there's some people. Savage Jeff seems to agree with us. Uh, says talk to them or leave the game. Don't call out last minute and waste everyone's time while not resolving the issue. I agree.
I
Um,
also agree. I think that like you were in the right until you said that you cancel at the last minute and then you kind of ruin.
I know I don't think that they're in the wrong for the sentiment that they feel, but I do think that
Yeah,
that they're going about it in an unhealthy way that
yeah,
doesn't fix the problem. Yeah, I yeah.
yeah. There's this comment in here from I'm scared of myself 35272 that says as a DM I got 3 nat 20s in a very short space of time in a combat session. After the second crit, I call the third as an unnatural 20 just to relieve pressure off the paladin. I will fudge dice, but only if it goes way too hard in either direction.
That's not bad. I'm not mad about that.
Yeah,
Um, I've always been of I've always been of the idea that I think that it's like I actually agree with it looks like what Af Aftex Sodius says,
yeah, something like
where it's
that.
like
I see that. Yeah,
if I screw up or I mean really I think that it's if I've made a big mistake then I try to fix that. And that's what the DM screen's there for. I think that, but I do think that the DM screen also is a thing of trust that that you can't break, and once you break that trust too much, then it hurts the game.
There's another comment down here. It's someone saying like that's why I always laugh at when people say fudge the dice as much as you want, just never tell your players because people are gonna catch on. And then Fusions of Wonder responded and said, depends on how often you go to the well. I fudge rolls, but I don't have to do it every session. Which I think is the key point here. This DM is seemingly doing it every single session.
It's not a hot fix, it's the entire game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's
Yeah.
something to think about here.
We
Um,
apparently were very passionate about that one. We talked about that one for a while.
hey, it's that's something that it's important to talk about. Why don't we talk about this character asking if they are too OP? Um,
The flip side of
I know
DM
it's like we're
fudging.
going back and forth and back and forth. Um, they say that they're using the 2014 rules, which I have to say, based.
Good
Um,
choice.
the choice, love it. Um, you can honestly, I agree with. I don't know if you saw the video that Tulok the Barbarian posted, but I agree with a lot of what with he had to say on it. So, um, if you want my opinion, you can just listen to him. That was a good video. Um, 2014 all the way.
Oh, brother, this one is hard to read.
Oh boy. All right. First off, I'm a player in this table, and we are all made to roll our stats. Most of the table got awful stats. I was quite mad at mine. I think he's trying to say mine, but mine are at least playable. Turns out none of the other players were mad at their rolls, and I even suggested that the DM let the players that got two of the worst ones re-roll, but they didn't want to. So I will get this off the table. I will get this off the table, but I just wanted to mention it as a possible explanation. We are all third level. I am playing uh, a rogue halfling,
Arcane Trickster.
arcane
I was trying to
trickster.
figure out
Okay,
what AT meant. It's Arcane Trickster.
an arcane trickster halfling. I'm not particularly good at the damage per round, but I'm happy with how consistent I am. The DM has been quite generous with the hiding spots, and I'm doing attacks with advantage most of the time. I've been able to reroll more ones than should be statistically reasonable, which means that my advantage turns into a triple advantage more frequently. Oh, because
Because
they're a
of
halfling. Okay,
Halfling.
sure.
Yeah.
I've also been the sole survivor or one of two survivors in the last three fights, rescuing or helping rescue my fellow players on in those occasions. We don't have a tank, only an off tank, nor a controller. Tanking is impossible.
Yeah.
So
Some channel
that's how
said
that
that.
works. It's some really cool channel. Go watch that
Yeah,
video too.
some
Um,
yeah. Full.
so hard hitting enemies usually drop one of our frontliners in the first couple turns, and from there it is downhill. Other than that, the campaign is quite enjoyable, and we have had success in a couple situations as long as it doesn't involve combat. But as soon as we get in a fight, we suck hard. The fighter gets to
Yeah.
be on par with me when doing an action surge or a precise strike, uh, and the ranger from hitting after Hunter's Mark, but I feel I can do so much more in comparison. I can open locks, hit and hide mostly in the same turn, and use sneak attack. Um, blah blah blah. Can do a lot. I'm afraid the other players might get angry at me for being too good.
Um
Um, what do you
so
think?
this guy's just playing a rogue.
Yeah, that's just a rogue. It's actually, and
It's just
it's not even that good of a rogue. There are better
yeah.
rogues at doing what you're doing. I don't think you need to be worried about it. Trust me, you are two levels away from action surge, not action surge, from multi attack. And
Multi-attack for both the ranger and the fighter.
I think you're gonna feel a significant drop off there because missing an attack once and then you've got nothing you can do. Um,
Also,
that
they don't have a tank or a controller,
they've got a
but they
fighter.
have a battle master fighter.
So yeah, I don't think that I don't think you need to worry about this in the slightest. Um,
Yeah, I will say you've got some tanky characters. Unless the stats are like truly atrocious, you have a fighter and a ranger which both get D10 hit die. So at minimum, if they statted it outright, they should have 10 health unless they put a 10 health from level 1 plus whatever they rolled unless they did the averages. Unless they put a negative in con. So I really want to focus on which the comments pointed this out. Uh I as the rogue, I have also been the sole survivor in the last 3 fights. How hard are these fights at level 3 where your fighter and ranger are going down?
It sounds like a new DM to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, I like that's just what I get from that right off the bat. Like a lot of people have talked about, like a lot we just heard about before. Um, but yeah, that I think that it's okay. Um, this is why I have in recent years become a huge opponent of either point buy or standard array or however you want to do it, because rolling for stats kind of sucked. I remember when we first started, we would use, what was it? It was just 60/20.
60/20s, and we would
Horrible.
re-roll if we got really low
I
stats.
think it was a 5. I think that we would re-roll and
Yeah,
only
I
get a
think if it was a
5.
5 or lower, we would re-roll.
That was horrible. I don't know what we were thinking.
And then we switched to 46 drop the lowest, which was
Better,
better.
but then there's still imbalance. And like you notice, both of the players that we've seen that have been like worrying about it are like, I rolled good on my stats, or I rolled better on my stats than the other players.
Yeah.
I I don't think that anyone's gonna get mad at you for being too good. I don't. Um, because quite frankly, I don't think that you probably are that good. I'm sure it's fun. Um, but but I don't think that you are like a broken character. I didn't realize that they could get shield though. Did you
They
know
get the
that?
wizard spells, don't they?
But it's specifically what is it? Illusion and something else. I don't remember exactly what it was. Um
I'm pulling it up real quick. Also, I want to talk about this. This is hidden in the comments. It's back to kind of what I was saying about the new DM.
yeah.
The fights and everything. It says in one fight they were looking for a magic core and a forge. The smith had golems guarding his forge, and then the blacksmith noticed them trying to steal the core, and then they were doing fine, and then another group attacked them from behind. So they were fighting 2 groups
Oh, wait,
at
yeah.
once, and then they surrendered the core, so they didn't even get what they were going for. And then it says in the other fight they're supposed to steal a package, and again they were fighting 2 groups at once.
I mean, it really does sound like,
And then a hill giant, a goblin, and an orc.
and they're level 3. I think that the DM doesn't know what they're trying to do, or they do, and they suffer from the affliction I see often in DMs, which is the, oh, I want to win D&D.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Here we go. So at Arcane Trickster, you know 3 first level wizard spells of your choice, 2 of which must be from the enchantment and illusion spells on the
so
wizard spell
so
list.
you can take from anything. Okay, that's good.
So you get 2 from enchantment and illusion, and then 1 from anything.
Shield's a great pickup for rogues then.
Yeah.
Though
And then
though
you
I
also get
I will
1
say
from anything at 8, 14, and
I
20.
will say it becomes less valuable once you get like some of your other spells, like, or other some of your other features, um like uncanny dodge, where you're getting, you
Or
know
evasion or something like that.
something else your reaction's going to start getting kind of full.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is I think that rogues are pretty good at first level, or early levels, but I
Yeah.
think that everyone's going to catch up to you. I don't think that's something you have to worry about.
Yeah. I don't think he's OP. I think the stats may just be I think it may just be a bad DM balance issue, and the stats are probably just an outlier. But once the fighter and ranger get their abilities,
Plus
it'll be fine.
the fighter's gonna get like a bajillion ASI points, so it like I wouldn't be worried about it.
Yeah. I'd be
But
worried about the fall off more than being OP.
yeah, yeah. So we've stuck to some like pretty much like am I the asshole type stuff. Um, so have I told I've got I like spiritual weapon, right?
Hmm. I think it's a good spell.
I do too. What if I told you that recently I came across one that claim a person that claims that they have that their DM has the worst interpretation of spiritual weapon.
It's probably a bold statement, but I could see it.
So first first off, um, they say that they have to be proficient with the weapon
Okay.
that they choose, I guess.
I assume so.
Um, they say also if I'm underwater, the spell goes away because it's verbal and somatic. I
Huh?
can't talk or weave my hands underwater, so the spell goes away. Also, my weapon can't take the form of a teddy bear because my DM says that's not a weapon. They can't command the weapon underwater, even if they casted the spell above water.
Why is water so prevalent?
I guess it's an ocean
Is
campaign.
this like a frequent occurrence in this campaign?
I guess. Um, Here's what I have to say for that. Um, the proficiency thing is stupid. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't see a big deal if you want to have your spiritual weapon look like anything, really. I
Yeah.
obviously,
He- Here's in the comments it it someone makes a good point um that the teddy bear it may be out of place if you're doing like gritty realism.
sure, but
So
like,
yeah.
but that I think that's an assumption here. Like, I don't know. Like Jester Lavore had a giant lollipop as her weapon, and that's iconic. And it didn't make the world feel out of place. I
Yeah.
assume that the teddy bear is, meaningful to their character in some way, shape, or form. Like I,
Would assume so. Like so Eldritch B in the comments says like I'm all for goofy spiritual weapons if they make sense.
yeah,
And then they said their last campaign's cleric had a giant catfish for a spiritual weapon, but she was a nature cleric from a swamp.
yeah, that's great. I love it. I'm not mad at that. Um,
Yeah.
I al- I can see the argument if you're saying you can't cast the weapon underwater, right?
You
Like
can't
if you're saying,
cast it underwater. I agree with that.
but there's nothing that says you can't control it under like I don't see any reason why it would be not be able to control it underwater. It's
Yeah.
not casting the spell again. You're just thinking and moving it.
Yeah. Really the only thing I agree with on the DM here is if the teddy bear has no relevance to the character and it's just something silly goofy that that the player wants to do, that's one thing versus like if their character's a 12-year-old, an 8-year-old child who's had a stuffed teddy bear,
Maybe it makes sense.
maybe it makes sense.
That's the thing. It's like we don't know their game, obviously. Um, we also don't know the general vibe of the game. But and I'm gonna say it again. Talk with each other. Like that should have been something that was discussed. Like if you guys aren't looking for the same type of game, because I get it. There's some games that are like very serious. We need everything perfectly accurate, and there's some people who just want to like I don't know, goof around and have a little bit of fun. Both of those game styles are valid. They just don't necessarily always work with each other, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I mean, yeah. Every campaign needs. This is the opinion I have. Even if it's gritty realism, every campaign needs a little bit of silly goofiness to bring the players back to reality. Because at the end of the day, it is a game.
Right.
You're not the one going through the gritty realism, your characters are. So if you have a little funny, goofy moment, yeah, sure, that's acceptable. But if your whole character is if the campaign is like gritty realism survivalist and your character is an 8-year-old cleric with a teddy bear spiritual weapon, I could see how your DM would get annoyed with that.
That's something to talk. I think that's, and again, that's just something to talk about before the game starts. It's something to talk about with your DM when you're noticing the frustration. Like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Like this person needs to go talk to their DM and say, "Hey, I read through the spiritual weapon description. This is what it says it does. I don't believe that it should disappear once I go underwater. Blah 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 blah. Also, if I don't think I have to be proficient in the weapon, blah 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 blah. And the teddy bear is important to my character because blah 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 blah. And if it's not important, say I'd like to keep the spiritual weapon something silly, goofy. What is something that you would accept? And if they
yeah,
won't budge on any of their points,
and you won't budge,
maybe
and
it's time.
you're not open to budgeting, then like sometimes not there's not compatibility, and I think that's okay.
Yeah, maybe it's time to separate.
You can still be friends. No one, you know.
Yeah, it's a game. At the end of the day, no one should
Yep,
take it too seriously. God, I feel like a therapist.
I know. I'm like, see, I love reading these because like they're crazy, but like at the same time, like I don't know, man. It's like,
They,
do you know how much
they,
easier
they
it would be
all
if you just
boil
talk to each other?
they all boil down to the same point, and it's communicate. If everyone in your group just communicates with each other, there should be no issue.
If they said exactly what they just said to us in this Reddit post to their DM, done.
It's over.
It's
You've solved
over.
the problem.
Yep. Now you might not like the solution, but like
Yeah,
that gives you a solution. This doesn't do anything besides let us make
yeah,
content out of it, which
yeah.
I'm grateful
Complaining
for.
to Reddit does nothing for anyone except me.
It does a lot for me actually, because now I can do basic reacting. Um, all right, so we had some fun being silly goofy. I think it's time to we're gonna have an unfortunate here
Tone shift.
tone shift here. Um, this one sucks. Just by the
Mm,
title, it says D&D
yeah.
doesn't feel worth it sometimes.
Ugh.
Maybe I don't have enough nerdy friends or friends in general, but it's just so hard to get people together while also dealing with all the problems of the group. I feel like sometimes D&D isn't worth the effort of getting people together, making them work together, making them actually play, and dealing with problem people. Especially when I can just play Baldur's Gate 3 multiplayer and have it and and it get mostly the same thing with a fraction of the headache. This has been a consistent battle for me. Is this normal with gaming groups? That it's just hard to plan to meet and have a good group of people consistently? Is the problem that I don't have enough friends or that I just have the wrong friends? I feel so drained by it, but the fun to frustration ratio doesn't really even out. I love this game, but man, I wish it was easier. Oof.
Ooh. So,
Um. Oh, you go.
uh,
Go for it.
well, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't want to be rude, and I don't want to attack this person. But this does one. I think your group is shitty. Is what I'm
Yeah.
going to start with because I've played in 3 or 4, maybe 5 groups, and I'm lucky myself, but I've only had maybe 2 real problem players, like actual problem players.
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like I've been lucky, but like when they didn't work. They were gone. I was a DM in one and a player in the other, and the one I DM'd, I said, "Hey, you're not welcome back." They, constantly missing sessions, making way too powerful characters. I said, "Hey, you're not welcome back if that's how you're gonna play." Not paying attention during sessions. I was like, "All right, we're done." And the other one, the DM handled it, and eventually we split. I don't know what happened with them, but um, you know, it's normal, or especially I don't know how old this person is. I don't know what stage of life they're in. It's normal for gaming groups to not be able to plan to meet. Schedules don't always line up. I mean, we faced that basically our entire time since we've started playing.
I mean, when we started playing, I feel like it would be months between sessions, right?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, seriously, months. Um,
yeah, yeah.
and
So
and
like, yeah,
we'd make the you make the most of your time. And so on that end, I think that's not something you have to worry about. Is like timing is just something that I think every D&D group faces because life is kind of hard to plan sometimes, especially when you're trying to get 3, 4 hours of like hanging out with your friends. That's not always feasible. Um, if you're,
yeah. You never know. Like, obviously, you don't know what stage of life this person's in, but you never know when you're gonna get sick, or when you're gonna get called into work, or when you have a family emergency, or even just like you may wake up and just not be in the mood for it.
and that's
Like,
that's not wrong.
it's
I
nothing
mean,
wrong with it. It's just stuff out of your control.
right.
You can't plan every second of your life.
Um, so for that area, that's not something that's really fixable. The the group problem though is like
Yeah,
if that's happening that often, I mean that's horrible. Um, I see down here they actually mention like they say, I wish making new friends as an adult with a full-time job was easier. So right now I might just stick to D&D with a work friend or BG3 with a work friend. Um, I will say there's a ton of places if you don't find friends and you really want to play D&D, um, there's a lot of game shops that do game nights. Um, even if you don't like everyone there, you can probably find some like-minded people. Uh, there's a bunch of communities. I mean, hell, the fact that you're talking to everyone on Reddit, right, is like that's a
yeah.
group. We have a Discord server that we have game rooms that you can play in if you want to find some people to play online. Um, ton of resources for that.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, you mentioned game stores, but there's also like all the stuff like looking for game. If you're playing Baldur's Gate online multiplayer, see if those people want to play a D&D session. I'm sure they have friends who would love to play. You
I
know,
think
you've
I think they mentioned that they're playing with their work buddy. Uh, specifically on because Baldur's Gate 3 the multiplayer I think and I could be wrong but I believe it's just like direct invite.
so I mean, like, see if your work buddy wants to play. If they'd be down to play some D&D. Maybe they have some friends as well that have a game or would want to play, and they may invite you. I don't
Hmm.
the I get having a full-time job as an adult. It's hard to make friends. It's hard to find time. But I don't think going and saying, maybe I don't have enough friends. I don't think that is your issue. Like, put yourself out there. It's easier said than done, but like complaining that you don't have enough friends on Reddit isn't going to fix anything. Personally, that's my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not to come after this person.
That's fair. um I get it, it's frustrating. um and maybe at this point in your life it's not worth it for you, but I know that me personally, D&D has always been something that I'm willing to fight and and try to like push for because it's something that I genuinely really care about. And it's an outlet that has always been special to me. So for me, it's worth the frustration to fun ratio. Um, but yeah, if you if you can't find anyone, Baldur's Gate's a great way to do it. I'm playing through Dragon Age right now. Like you get to you can take a little bite out of the that fantasy RPG with other games while you look, and maybe that'll help set off the frustration a little bit. Do you think we've got time for one more? I've got one more, and I've saved the best for last, I think. At least based on the title alone.
Yeah, I think we got time. We can cover this in 9 minutes.
Oh my God. Um,
Oh,
maybe we
maybe
can't.
we.
Holy cow. Um,
Oh,
I was not expecting this at all.
do you want
Gaslighting
me to?
DM abuses the party for almost a year and almost makes me drop D&D forever.
Oh
Um,
boy.
there,
D-
we'll try. Let's see if we can cover this quickly here.
okay.
Um, so basically, uh, this guy and his antics. I assume the DM. If this is something that happened. It looks like eight plus years
8 years,
ago, or maybe it took place over 8 years. Um,
and he was just a bad DM. He wasn't actually like
yeah,
everything was in game. He wasn't like out of game bad. It just seems like.
yeah. The running Horde of the Dragon Queen. No one had ever played it. They hadn't heard about it. Everything else was his own bullshit. Everything else he made up. Um, oh my God. There's just so much here.
Minotaur Minotaur fighter, variant human ranger, tiefling rogue, human or elf sorcerer. Can't remember because he immediately left the game after one session due to work schedule changing.
I mean, happens. Smart to leave early. Um, oh my, cave is dark and not everyone has night vision, so the Minotaur decides to light a torch. DM tells him to make a deck save to not burn himself because he's covered in fur. That would be like me going like, "Oh, I light a torch. Oh, better make a deck save so you don't burn yourself because you have hair on your arms." Like,
Yeah.
oh, you've got a head full of hair. You're not bald,
But then the Minotaur gets a torch from someone else and is fine.
right? Um,
Right.
oh boy, speeding things up. There's some troglodytes. The rolls a one. The bowstring snaps. Um,
Oh, you skipped over the best part.
oh, did I?
They not touch webs. We fail, and a blink spider lunges at one of us and tries to grapple, but fails and disappears. We walk into the cave just fine after that, and I ask what would have happened if it had been a fail. DM says they would have been blinked into the spider dimension and swarmed by a bunch of spiders and probably died.
I don't think that's how blink spiders. Like there are spiders that can like the like phase in and out, but oh my God.
Did they go to the spider dimension?
The spider dimension? Oh boy. That's where Spider-Man lives with all the spider people from the great movie Madam Web.
Ooh, it made Madam Web $1 billion.
It sure did. Um the natural he does the natural one thing where like it's an extra punishment. Um that is something you just talk about beforehand, I think. That would have been a good way to go about it. A 100-foot wall with an opening at top. You have to climb up. They proceed to have to roll athletics every 10 feet. Or that's crazy. Um, Lots of falling, and at the top are two chests inside crevices that are empty, and they were just there to waste their time as the roof slowly moves down and crushes you. So they did a puzzle. They waste he wasted like probably like 30 minutes to an hour of this climbing for nothing. Um, the there's a there's a there's a diamond that kills you instantly if you touch it. That's
it's a diamond case that is holding a dragon
that
egg.
kills you. Just instant. Do you know how frustrating that would be? Um, Two half dragons, not dragonborns, who are cracked out stat wise, step forward and fight us, ending with him grappling and dragging the Minotaur into the teleport sigil in the back of the room where he meets face to face with Tiamat in the realm she's trying to escape from. I don't know. She curses him and tells him to fuck off and get the lizard head the NPCs and head the NPCs back to town and return it to the cave because it's her property or else. I I just they're being railroaded. Uh, there's a There's a big wagon that's too big to pass through and would have been abandoned if they took it. Good thing they didn't. They spent all their money on a wagon, or they almost spent all their wagon and then had to leave it. Um, the ranger wants to join a ranger guild. Told he has to catch a magic invisible venomous elk thing and bring it to all them to them, and he had to do it alone. Um, they're It was CR7. It was one level 4 character that had to do it. Totally homebrewed nightmare creature that to kill the ranger. Pretended like he had other people in groups try to do it to be clever about it and set traps and still died to it. Um, they had 3 people join and leave somewhere in the middle. That's not a good sign, I feel like. Joining less so than the leaving. Um, I don't even know how to process most of this. This is horrible.
They have to go to an adventure to find someone to sell a +1 bow to the ranger. Because the smith had weapons for everyone else, but not
That's
bows.
so awful. Why didn't you have a bow shop in town? If that's what you're gonna do.
The DM hated the ranger's player because he would fuck him over relentlessly. At some point, the ranger died and comes back with a bard next section. Next session,
Uh,
bard goes down from the crossbow's fighter stabilizes and puts a shield in the dirt, sticking up to give his body cover. Crossbow guy keeps shooting the unconscious bard and kill him.
oh my God. That's just yeah, but I know that they didn't see it, but like you knew.
Yeah,
That's so frustrating. If you're choosing to kill your characters because you want to, that's different. I like that's just so awful. Find a chest with a key that looks sus. It has glowing eyes. They hit the chest. The eyes grow dark. Hit it again. Breaks open. There's a pouch inside. Uh,
oh, yeah, it's got planar shift sand and teleports the
just
paladin and
an
kills him instantly.
these are so many character deaths.
Yeah.
How do you even like make a story with this? How is
They
this
got a
enjoyable?
scroll of wish. The DM says they run into some spooky prophetic witch lady. He says we see her as we're leaving and then to roll initiative and tell everyone who's eagerly rolling and getting ready to fight her to just hold on and not attack. And the DM didn't say she was attacking us. I'm begging everyone to just wait and not attack her, but it's her turn and combat ends.
That's very
Some of the worst stuff was with the DNPC he threw in because we were down to 3 players. They didn't even
oh,
include all of that.
that's insane. I don't even know where to start with that. Wow. I mean truly wow. What a way to end it. Um uh uh never no, never let this person this DM play D&D again. Just we're gonna
I
stamp the natural one ban on that. He is officially no longer to play D&D. You're welcome, cultural brick. We have solved all of the
We banned
problems that are facing the
we
world right
banned
now.
that your DM from 8+ years ago from ever playing D&D again. I hope you're happy.
Yeah, you're safe now. If he tries to start playing again, let us know. We'll take care of it. And with that, I think that's the perfect place to wrap it up. After we solved
Yeah,
all of the problems here, um,
there's no more D&D problems.
I think that was all of them from my understanding. So, next time we come back to table disputes, in r/D&D, it should be empty. Um, so I'm looking forward to that. It does hurt our channel a little bit because I was planning on doing this again at some point if this was enjoyed, but yeah, we solved it.
Yeah,
You're
everything
welcome.
is solved. There's no more D&D problems ever. You guys are welcome.
I don't. Yeah, you should be thanking us all of the time. Thank you, Grimshade. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Adios, brothers. Oh, what a stream.